Coming up, Aaron Judge is the newest member of the 60 Home Run Club and a triple play in Texas. This is Locked On Game to Game MLB.
Every game, every team, every angle. Locked On Game to Game, your team every day.
Welcome in. You're listening to Locked On Game to Game MLB, local experts weighing in on the biggest stories in Major League Baseball. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. New York Yankees went into the bottom of the ninth, down 4 runs to the Pirates, and then Aaron Judge jump-started the New York offense with yet another home run, putting him in elite company. Locked On Yankees recaps the comeback in the Bronx.
This is Stacey Gotsoulias of Locked On Yankees, and the Yankees beat the Pirates in exciting fashion at the stadium on Tuesday night. Walk-off fashion, comeback fashion, Judge hitting number 60 fashion. It was quite a game. It was quite a game. The Yankees found themselves down 8-4 heading into the bottom of the ninth. Aaron Judge hit number 60 to make it 8-5, and you're thinking, okay, at least he got 60. Move on to the next one. But Will Crowe of the Pirates decided to help the Yankees out a little bit. Anthony Rizzo hit a double. Gleyber Torres walked. Josh Donaldson hit a single. Aaron Boone pinch ran Oswald Cabrera for Donaldson, thinking, hey, if Stanton makes contact, we need faster runners on the bases. And Stanton was like, I got this. And he hits a walk-off grand slam, and the Yankees win 9-8. So it was a very exciting game. And I will have a complete recap of this. We will be gushing about Aaron Judge again, because that's what we've been doing all week. And Harrison Bader had a very nice Yankees debut. So we'll have it all for you on the next Locked On Yankees.
The Cincinnati Reds had plenty of chances against the Red Sox on Tuesday, but couldn't come through with any of them. As Locked On Reds, we'll tell you what went down.
Nick Lodolo didn't have his best stuff, but he kept the Reds in the game. If only the Reds could get a hit with runners in scoring position. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast. And the Cincinnati Reds were in that game on Tuesday night against the Boston Red Sox all the way there until the end. Even really at the end, even though Hunter Strickland gave up a 2-run home run in the top of the ninth to expand a Red Sox lead from 3-1 to 5-1, they were still there. They had a shot to come back and win that game, but it all fell short. They had no hits last night with runners in scoring position. They had a couple of opportunities there as well, just couldn't get anything done. And it was a rough go of it for Nick Lodolo. He allowed 6 free passes, 3 via hit by pitch, 3 via walk. The Reds officially break the record for most hit batsmen in a season by a team. They are now at 99, and there's still 14 games left, so I'm guessing that's going to go up. Overall, the Reds now have 90 losses. They need to win 5 of their remaining games to avoid that 100-loss plateau. And if they don't hit with runners in scoring position, don't think they're going to avoid that plateau. We're going to talk about that, and we've got Tom Nichols from the Dayton Dragons on the next episode of the Locked On Reds podcast, talking about Elly De La Cruz and how he's not done winning awards. You're not going to want to miss it.
Houston Astros have the best record in the American League, and they keep showing us why. Houston knocked around a Cy Young candidate and shut down the Rays on Tuesday night. Locked On Astros recaps the win in Tampa.
It was a matchup of 2 pitchers with sub-3 ERAs, with Christian Javier versus Chane McClanahan, and Christian Javier came up on top, pitching 5 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts and only allowing 1 hit. Chane McClanahan was one of the favorites for a Cy Young race. He left in the 5th inning with some stiffness in his neck, but the Astros were able to score 5 runs off of him, off 5 hits, allowed 4 walks and 3 strikeouts. So by doing this, the Astros offense helped Justin Verlander and his chances to potentially win the Cy Young. And I guess for that matter, Framber Valdez as well. And let's talk a little bit about the offense. The Kyle Tucker, for the first time since 2005, Carlos Lee, Kyle Tucker is the first guy outfielder to drive in 100 runs. And then Jeremy Pena had a big 3-run homer to get the Astros within 6 games of clinching the AL, the best record in AL, depending on what happens in the Yankees game. So make sure you tune in to Locked On Astros podcast.
Toronto Blue Jays and Philadelphia Phillies game looked more like a football score last night. After 11 runs, still wasn't close to getting the win. Locked On Phillies is not happy with how his team is heading into the postseason.
Well, Phillies might stink. Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies. The Phils got boat race tonight. They gave up more than twice as many runs as the Eagles gave up points in a football game on Monday Night Football. I don't know what else to say. This team is collapsing. They're allergic to the playoffs. I hate it here. I hate this team. I hate this sport. I don't know. They just collapse every year. It makes no sense. I'm a very sad and broken man. Catch more of this, I guess, on Locked On Phillies, wherever you get your podcasts.
After getting blown out on Monday, the Cubs got a little bit of revenge, and they'll play a deciding game tomorrow in Miami against the Marlins. Locked On Cubs tells you how Adrian Sampson is putting a good bookend to a solid season in winning that pitcher's duel.
Hey, the Cubs won a baseball game today, 2-1 in Miami over the Marlins. Adrian Sampson continues what really for him has been awesome. He's just been really good all year. Most times out, he's kept the Cubs in baseball games. He's been really competitive. This was just his typical outing. He stranded a lot of base runners, gave up 8 hits in 6 innings, but was able to just allow 1 run. And David Bote provided the offense today with a solo home run and a sac fly. And then Adbert Alzolay, which was nice to see, through 2 scoreless innings. And then Brandon Hughes came in and got the save. So some nice young pieces there, finishing the game off for the Cubs. Adrian Sampson, I don't know what his future holds with the team. We'll be talking about some of that on tonight's show. But good for him. Hat tip to him. And a nice win tonight for the Cubs. They'll try and take the series tomorrow.
Coming up, more action from around the league. This is Locked On Game to Game MLB. This edition of Locked On Game to Game is brought to you by Blue Chew. There is nothing sexier than confidence, and Blue Chew can give you that confidence where it counts. If you could benefit from extra confidence when it comes to performing, chew it and do it. And we have a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew for free when you use promo code Locked On at checkout. Just pay $5 in shipping. That's bluechew.com. Promo code Locked On to receive your first month for free. You visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring our podcast. Welcome back to Locked On Game to Game MLB. I'm Kainani Stevens. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. Wasn't long ago that the Baltimore Orioles played with the playoffs in mind, but a number of disappointing losses recently kind of took them out of the mix. That includes one on Tuesday to the Tigers. Our Locked On Orioles host getting ready already for next season.
Another day, another abysmal effort by the Baltimore Orioles as they just go quietly into the wind in this playoff chase in 2022. Connor Newcomb here, host of Locked On Orioles. Final score is the Tigers 3 and the Orioles 2. The Baltimore Orioles, who up until a couple weeks ago were in a postseason chase, are 0-5 against the Detroit Tigers, who have 90-plus losses and have one of the worst offenses, honestly, the worst offense in all of baseball. And I just can't understand what's going on. The O's just refuse to hit. They refuse to put a rally together. They refuse to do anything with runners in scoring position. The only reason they scored is because Gunnar Henderson is him and hit a 2-run homer. But just a flat performance, and it's tough to see how this team even wins 82 games and finishes over 500 this year. It is really bad. You knew that a tumble was coming. They'd been playing above their heads. They were going to crash. Couldn't have seen them crashing this hard. But I'll recap it all coming up on Wednesday's episode of the Locked On Orioles podcast.
The Los Angeles Angels have found some momentum at just about the worst possible time for them. The Angels, though, still they're on a hot streak. And Locked On Angels and Rangers go over LA's latest win over Texas.
Well, as the season winds down, the Angels are heating up. Hey, everybody, it's Mike Frisch, one half of Locked On Angels. The Halos have won 4 of 5, and they beat the Texas Rangers on Tuesday night 5-2. They were led by the middle of their lineup. Everybody had a hit, but these guys had at least 2 hits and an RBI. Taylor Ward had 2 RBIs. This team looked really good on Tuesday night, and it's unfortunate because this season is over and they're eliminated from the playoffs, but maybe this could be the momentum that helps us to get started well next season in 2023. That's what all Angel fans say around September. Patrick Sandoval was on the mound. He went 5 innings. He struck out 7. And the Angels start game 2 on Wednesday night, and their starter is Tucker Davidson, and he's hoping to rebound from his last outing, which wasn't too great. And he's somebody that we're keeping an eye on, because if he puts it together, he could be a real great starting piece for the Halos. John and I are going to talk about this game and the next game and all Angel news on Locked On Angels. So we hope that you'll join us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or on YouTube.
A decent effort, but it wasn't to be tonight for the Rangers. They lose 5-2 to the Angels in a pretty solid start from Cole Reagans. I'm Bryce Patrick, host of the Locked On Rangers podcast. Today was a nice start, like I said, for Cole Reagans, the first time in his major league career that he has not walked anybody. There's been a problem for him in his few starts. The Rangers also made history, turning the second triple play of the season, the 8th in their franchise history. That is the first time the Rangers have turned multiple triple plays this season. It was started by Josh Young. A really nice turn at second by Marcus Semien, and finished off with a catch from Nathaniel Lowe. The Rangers offense was not quite doing it in this one. Marcus Semien did reach base 4 times in this one, but it just wasn't quite enough. Got a nice defensive play there on the triple play, and Adolis Garcia gunning down a runner at home plate. When will these batters stop running on him with 2 outs? But I'm glad they didn't, because we got to see an absolute show. Defensively, wasn't quite the offensive force the Rangers would have liked, but still not too terrible a game for a 5-2 loss. For more, check out the Locked On Rangers podcast.
The Cleveland Guardians started a series with the second-place Chicago White Sox on Tuesday and a 4-game lead over Chicago in the division. That lead now stands at 5 after 11 innings of baseball on the south side. Locked On Guardians reviews a thriller of a win for Cleveland.
Victory. Cleveland Guardians win tonight 10-5 in extra innings. It should have never gone to extra innings, let's be honest. Ahmed Rosario was safe. It was a terrible call at home plate. Cleveland couldn't challenge it because they had wasted a challenge on an Ahmed Rosario tag earlier in the game. If they had a challenge, they would have been up 4-3. This game would have never gone into extras. They get into extras. They score 2 runs. You're feeling good. Emmanuel Clase gets the rare blown save. His 4th of the year. One of the best relievers, if not the best reliever in baseball, gets a blown save. What's Cleveland do? Promptly goes out and scores 5 runs to just knock this game out of reach. Dylan Cease on the mound against Aaron Savale. Savale has thrown 20 innings since mid-July. Somehow, Cleveland put out the win, and it is a huge win. Gives them the series win against the White Sox, so while it is a 5-game lead, it's really a 5.5-game lead. There is no Game 163 this year. Cleveland has the tiebreaker. So if these 2 teams end tied, guess what? Cleveland goes, Chicago stays at home. Huge win. Make sure to check out Locked On Guardians as we go deep on this game. And we have an even deeper live follow of this game. So if you want to watch a long video, go check that out on our YouTube.
The St. Louis Cardinals only have a couple more wins to go until they can finally clinch the NL Central, but they could not get one or even one run across the board against San Diego on Tuesday. Locked On Cardinals goes over his team's lackluster performance.
The Cardinals' bats remain in a slumber as they get blanked by the Padres tonight in San Diego. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals, and to say that the offense for the Cardinals has gone cold is a bit of an understatement. I mean, we're talking sub-zero cold. We're talking Antarctica cold. Like Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Planet Hoth, cold. You know, the place where Luke gets attacked by a wampa. I mean, what has happened here? What is going on? I mean, they got completely shut down by Mike Clevenger tonight, who had an ERA over 7 in his last 5 starts. The team had a total of 5 hits, 2 of them by 42-year-old Albert Pujols. Sadly, he did not hit a home run tonight, so the chase for 700 remains at 698. Adam Wainwright's struggles continued, although he didn't pitch horrible. A couple of weak contact hits drove in 3 runs, but again, even if he gives up 1 run, what does it matter? The offense stuck in one of its worst ruts of the season. Fortunately for the team, the Brewers continued to lose, which they did again tonight, and their magic number fell to 6. For more in-depth Cardinals content, join me tomorrow for a brand new episode of Locked On Cardinals.
That's all for today on Locked On Game to Game MLB. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every weekday. And make sure you subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts to Locked On MLB and, of course, your team's Locked On podcast. I'm Kainani Stevens. This has been Locked On Game to Game.